Okay, we're recording. So, welcome. We're here at the Bitcoin Design Guide Jam session number 23. And as usual, it's an open session to discuss what's going on in the guide. Everybody here is very familiar with the process. So I think maybe we can just hop right in. I just shared a document to take notes. Anybody feel free to edit anything. And I think the big question, there are two things. Bosch would like to get a review of the Lightning Service Provider page. And the second one is Bitcoin Miami is in 2 days. There was a prior discussion around pushing some changes live that are maybe as part of the reorg that kind of, look cool, I guess, that put on a little bit of a new face. And those specifically would be the guide landing page refresh, for which there's a draft PR that would need feedback and iteration. The second issue for that would be consolidating onboarding and payments into the daily spending wallet reference design. And this is not just moving pages around. I think we'd also have to revise the content, make sure it flows well, come up with a landing page for that new section. And then at a later stage, because that content becomes more specific to a single product, we may want to move some content out of it, but that can probably be done later. Anything else you'd like to chat about?
That sounds good. That's about all I came to talk about.
Cool. So Bosch, why don't we start with LSP page, and then whatever time we have left, we can then. Oh, hold on. Actually, Stephen, you said you might not be here the whole time, right?
Yeah, I'm at a developing conference environment. We'll just see how the situation goes.
Okay. Because now that you're here, we might want to tackle any coordination stuff first. And that would
Yeah,
be
sure.
specifically about anything we want to get done for BTC Miami, which is in a day and a half or two.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we should talk about that first. I guess maybe a good place, just for the sake of my own visualization, would be to pull up the projects page on the design community and go to the Bitcoin Design Guide roadmap, just to look and see where we're at. So, I mean, I think obviously my PRs got merged for designing Bitcoin products and all of that. Then we had consolidate onboarding and payments into daily spending, which I believe Bosch had expressed interest in working on this one. And then, let's see. After that, we have the improvements to the reference designs, and I think I assigned that one to myself. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
So I think I've had my mic muted this whole time. I was talking quite a bit.
Yeah.
I just opened the PR for the daily spending wallet now, and yeah, keen to go over the LSP page like whenever you guys are ready. But yeah, opening that now so you guys can view the live preview. I'm just opening it as a draft because there's probably a lot of like just minor things like just tidying up links. I haven't done a rate test and that, but just look for any kind of glaring issues. There was a few things that I changed that weren't in the original issue. I'm just going to post them on the issue now, but they weren't major contentious things. One was just like renaming protecting a wallet to security. Like it's thought it's a bit more simplistic way to kind of say that. We have a page called privacy, so it kind of like aligns with kind of that naming structure. And another thing as well, this one might be a little bit more contentious. Maybe we can open a separate issue for this, but was to rename instead of calling the page backups, call it backup and recovery, and move the restoring a wallet page to that. I just think those concepts are like pretty heavily interlinked, and it would make sense to kind of have them in one little section. There's just a lot of overlap in content and stuff like that, and like you probably should be talking about recovery if you're talking about backups at the same time. So thought that would make sense to kind of put them together.
Okay. Should we stick with? Should we go over that right now, real quick, or go back or stay with the coordination stuff?
Question: is that PR open yet, Bosch?
Just open. It's just open then, so it's just
Okay.
generating the preview now. So you should be able
Okay.
to view the preview.
Yeah. So the coordination stuff, Christoph. So it sounds like that. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, at the new PR there.
So basically, issue number 718. It looks like Bosch has got that, or we got a PR for that, so we can start looking at that. And then after that, I mean, obviously, just changing case studies to reference design is a really simple thing. The kind of big job is the like updating the reference designs for like the new like UI kit based visuals. That's the thing that's going to take longer. And I'm happy to jump in and hustle and all of that. I think that I think I could absolutely get some updated visuals for those cranked out in like the next 24 or 48 hours or something. I'm not sure if that gives us enough time for the like review that we want.
Yeah, I don't. Are we really going to push this pretty hard here as some type of new, revision or something? I feel like it's okay if those visuals are not updated yet. I think it's for me. I'd see it as more important that the structure is basically there and the landing page is basically there.
Yeah, I agree with Christoph. I reckon getting that landing page done after my PR that I just opened this merge is probably the main thing we need to get done before Miami, and then the other things aren't as important, but we'll get around to it.
I already have a draft PR for the landing page. That would be more getting feedback, and then just refining it and updating it based on the latest section changes. So so Bosch, if you want to just focus on the daily spending one, we'll give you tons of feedback and you implement it, and I get work on the guide landing page revision. You give me lots of feedback. I'll try to finalize that one. Maybe Stephen, I know you're at a conference. You're trying to squeeze a lot of stuff in. You have a workshop tonight about the design guide. So maybe it's best if you just focus on feedback and kind of Bosch and I, we just focus on just working through things.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. And I think a way to think about this whole event strategically is like obviously, it's the Miami event. Everybody wants to make a big splash and promote what they're working on. And if we want to, I think part of the impetus for wanting to get these changes done ahead of Miami was just the goal of, using this as a time to make more people aware of the design guide and onboard new designers to the community and stuff like that. And so in addition to that, we don't have to let it all like those efforts rely entirely on just an update to the guide, because I'm going to try my best to claim a table in like the open source area. Apparently they've got like tables that projects can claim. So I'm really going to try my best to do a table and just make sure that we're I don't know, doing some programming or running some workshops or something there. I mean, and obviously kind of stuff that I'm just kind of making up as I go along here. But I think just by having a presence and, showing people stuff on site there, we can actually help meet those goals, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Over the weekend, there were some great moments where some guy who was working on the DeFi product, he told me about some of the problems, like some of the fights that he had like with his boss and a developer, and it was about, somehow it got to that the developer wanted to always show 8 digits, and then he talked about formatting numbers, and I pulled up the guide and said, we have a whole page here on this, and he was like, this is awesome, now I don't have to have those fights, I can just show here. So I think and there were a few moments like that where I just said, we have something here that you can refer, and I feel like those moments are really great ways to get the guide into people's hands, because it just seems like people all over the place are trying to solve the exact same problems over and over. Silence.
Awesome.
Cool.
So it sounds like our basic path forward is that obviously Bosch is going to continue working on his PR for the daily spending page. You're going to keep working on your PR for the guide landing page. I'm going to assist by providing reviews on pull requests and just making sure that we're represented at conferences. Did I get all that right?
Yep.
Yep. I'll do
Sounds
a
good to
review
me.
on your.
Daniel, how does that sound?
Sounds good to me. As usual, I'll be focused on any reviews, but there are like so many issues at this point that it's very hard to keep up with what is a priority. So I'm referring to the product or project page itself. So if anything needs my attention, just feel free to tag me as a reviewer.
Okay. Yeah, and I think Bosch, once we're through with the big ones, which are the ones we already started, then we can just tackle some smaller ones, and I would assume that the review for that will be a lot simpler, especially because we signaled all of this stuff over weeks. Right? We published discussions, published Google Docs, published designs, published stuff. So nothing should be contentious there. We just have to make sure we execute it well.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Yeah, and Bosch, you and I, we could also do a 1 hour session or so tomorrow if there's anything to go through.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah, maybe like later in the day so we can get it. Make sure we have everyone's reviews in before we kind of go over things and just see if there's anything else that might be something we're missing. Write up a bit of a like an announcement tweet and stuff like that as well. Shill it to everyone.
Yeah, you've been pushing stuff on the Twitter account. It's great.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do one a day. I think more tweets than that's annoying.
I mean, even that is a good amount.
Yeah, it's so annoying I can't use the schedule thing on the tweet deck. Otherwise, I'd just schedule them all on like Sunday for like the daily thing. But I got to go because I can't schedule them. I'm probably going to do threads for most of the tweets. I can't schedule them ahead, so I got to manually do one each day.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Shalini. Welcome to the call. If you'd like to, if you have a question about the design guide or what we're doing, feel free to speak up. We're just working through some of the basically figure out how we're going to get some of the things done that we are hoping to get done the next few days. Okay, so LSP, should we switch to that one?
Yeah, we do the LSP page. It'd be cool to get that through for the Miami. I don't think it's a big priority, but it'd be cool another page that we could push. I think like the LSP's page is going to be good for when we go kind of revise a lot of the content, particularly in the daily spending wallet, because we can reference to the LSP page quite a bit and not have to talk about the technical stuff in the daily spending wallet. We can just kind of link to that page. But addressed everyone's feedback in that PR, so it's ready to get like I guess another review done with it. And I'm sure there's going to be stuff that need to change because it does get pretty technical.
Yeah. Oh, you only have 97 comments on it so far.
Yeah, it got really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of feedback. Like, most of the feedback was spelling and then just minor things. So it should I think we should be able to get that easily merged, like maybe tomorrow, if people review it like in the next 24 hours or so.
Will do.
Okay, it seems like we're through with kind of the coordination stuff. Now we have a chance to dig deeper, or is there anything else? Otherwise, we can try to dig deeper and actually do some PR review stuff here. For example, Bosch we could go quickly over the daily spending wallet one that you worked on. If you want to.
Yeah. Do you want me to share my screen and we can do it that way, or?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That seems like it's the biggest one out of all of this. And if we review it now here, maybe we can already sync on a few things. I can also share it on my screen if you want, whatever works best for you.
Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm. I can at least.
So I'll finish it tonight. I'm pretty much going to do a rate test and a few other things. And there's a few pages where like the names are just slightly changed. I was going to just like kind of reword a few things in a couple of the pages, but nothing like really major contentious. Like I wouldn't consider them to be like big content changes. But essentially, I haven't actually. I did put it here actually. I thought I didn't do that. So we've got this new daily spending wallet page, which consolidates payments and onboarding into one mega reference design, which I'm sure everyone here is pretty familiar with that. But it's part of a big reorg that we've been planning to do to make the guide easy to navigate and segment things into like use cases. So like, yeah, like I said, like make things easy to find and like make content discovery like, yeah, easier. So going from the homepage, you got your daily spending wallet here listed now. This is going to be completely different. I'm sure you guys know I'm just repeating this because we're recording it, but we're going to do a landing page reorg, and this page is going to be much more graphic and have visuals, and daily spending wallet will be probably one of the big main showcases we show here. Have like a search bar and a bunch of other stuff, but if you go on GitHub, there's a draft PR open for that if you wanted to look at it. So go into this daily spending wallet, click on that. So we've got it down on the fourth on the list on the left hand side on the kind of skeleton menu. I don't know what you kind of call these types of menus, but so this is the structure we kind of, me, Christoph, and Stephen kind of I guess agreed upon a couple of weeks ago. I think was that the last jam session. We did a discussion around this and pretty much went over the whole guide and decided like I guess this is how we're going to lay it out.
I think it was already more than a month, 2 months ago or so. Feels like it's been forever, but it's definitely. I don't think it was the last one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we do need a header, a banner image for this. So that's something that I wouldn't say it's a huge priority, but it would be good to have a nice banner image for this page just for the conference. So we have something there because at the moment it does look quite blank. If anyone wants to work on something for that or work on that, we'll have an issue for it on GitHub.
Doesn't Stephen already have one for the cash account daily spending, the case study page that's currently live? It says a purple background and there's some screens on, yeah, that one.
Yeah, cool. All right, are you guys cool to just use that?
Yeah, we might need to update the visuals in here. I don't know, I haven't looked at it closely, but
yeah, this one needs to get updated.
The QR code maybe. So, Stephen, do you know if the Figma source for this is readily available?
It should be linked in the source code. If not, I can dig it up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a link on the illustration source. Yeah, on the MD file.
I always have fun whipping up visuals, so if you need it quickly, I can hop on it.
Yeah, before you said that,
stuff's ugly and you want something else.
That's exactly what I was going to propose, that we just take some of this art and maybe tweak it, repurpose it, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, definitely need to update that for the single QR in the requesting page. Maybe remove those little gray markers there at the top. I think these look reasonably up to date, but I'll just double check that they're the most latest UI kit images for those frames. And yeah, I'll use that for the image. So going back, we've got the first use page. It's exactly the same. It's first use page from the onboarding. We do need new header images for all the reworked onboarding pages because at the moment they kind of show the old structure of the onboarding. So yeah, we're going to need new banner images for all of them. It should be fun to do. Would we want to tackle that before the conference, or maybe put some issues up and address those a little bit later?
Let's make it let's see if we can get it done, but let's make it secondary.
Okay, cool. And like I just did lots of little minor rewording, like we're throughout this this section, like where it says like, you know, Bitcoin application, I like put it in the context of the section and just like change the wording to like Bitcoin daily spending wallet. Like for example, here it says like, okay, now let's look at funding a daily spending wallet. So just in context of the section. So lots of little tweaks like that you'll see in the guide. I'm still going through and just finding all them because I'm kind of going through and reading the content, which has been pretty good because I've been going through every page quite thoroughly, and I got quite a few issues that I want to open up about some like content restructuring and repurposing things and just shuffling some stuff around. So, but we'll worry about the reorg for now, and we can get to that later on. But going forward, the daily spending wallet, we've got the funding section. So I'm going to be working on this probably. I was planning to do it next week. I might start it this week if we get all the reorg stuff done. But in the issue that Stephen had up, it was. So we're going to have like assisted funding and manual funding, which is in this issue here. I'll just move that to the other frame actually, make it a bit easier. So we've got the assisted funding and manual funding. I do want to kind of consolidate those into one. I think with the LSP page, I can like instead of adding like explaining what the LSP stuff is in that page, I can just reference to the LSP page. So that way the page won't get too big. So it would be good to just have that as one and explain in the context of manually funding as well as assisted funding. But I want to be able to do that.
Question there, because you mentioned earlier about combining recovery and backup and recovery pages, and how do you what's your rationale for saying you want this to be one page? So just because I see a couple things. One is page can get super big. The other one is linking and kind of reusage. So if somebody's working on something and they talk about, I don't know, recovery, I can just send them a link to that page and it'll just be right there instead of being part of some super massive page. Or if we talk about it elsewhere somewhere in the guide, it's easier to refer to, like when a page is a little bit smaller and more focused, it's easier to cross-reference it from other places and it becomes more composable or so. So I was just curious how you think about it.
Well, I just thought the concepts are so intertwined, and I thought it would make more sense to explain like the LSP aspect in the context, like relate like alongside kind of explaining the manual side of it. I think it would make a little bit more sense. Because for example, if you just jumped on like say the assisted funding page and you just read through it all, you might not understand like why you would need these assistants. And then if you went to explanation as to why, you essentially be duplicating the content that's in the manual funding page. So you didn't want to have like the duplication and the overlap and the crossover. So, but I don't have heaps of strong ideas about that, but I'm gonna just play around with it. And if the page does end up getting too big, I'll probably do it in two, but I'll see if I can do it in one. And I will definitely try to keep it small. Like I don't want to have it a big, like complicated kind of beast. As well as like if we're going to kind of go down that path and have like separate pages for LSP stuff and separate pages for manual stuff, then why don't we have like assisted backups and manual backups, like, and it kind of goes into that, and then like I don't know if we'd want to go into that because it kind of start making this section quite large and have lots of pages, and I think it would add a lot of complexity. But yeah, like that was kind of also where my head was over that. But yeah, we'll try to keep
with the assisted backup, manual recovery phrase stuff. We might end up at a point where we move the manual recovery phrase backup as an option only for the multi-sig reference design, because if we're talking about daily spending with channel backups and whatnot, that might not even make sense there anymore. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just talking in practical terms. Page gets super long. You can't cross-link it properly. And yeah. Okay, but that's something we probably have to best work through with the actual PRs, with the actual content, because theoretically it's always different than practical.
Yeah. Like anyone has any ideas about that, feel free to send them my way because I will be working on that soon. But yeah, I'm sure I'll flesh things out a little bit more once I start actually tackling it and thinking about it. I wrote quite a lot of notes when I was going through this, doing this restructure, so kind of have a vague idea, and I think I will be able to do it in one page, but we'll see. So yeah, there's a funding page. This used to be called funding a wallet. It's just called funding now because in the context of daily spending wallet, so obviously you could presume this page is about wallet. You don't really need to say wallet twice, so just a minor little thing there. Content-wise, I think pretty much the same. Well, nothing's really changed. It's all just restructuring. So next is backing up wallet. I need to change the name of that. So backup and recovery. Broken link. I need to fix. So this is one thing that's a little bit contentious. I don't know if you guys want to do this, but I wanted to bring it up. Like, it's pretty easy to just revert back if I need to. But what I was thinking is having this section called backup and recovery. Like I said earlier, I think those two concepts are like heavily intertwined. Like backup, like the only reason you would back something up is like you would eventually maybe use it, or hopefully don't have to, as a recovery. So talking about those two concepts in context, I think makes a lot of sense. So what I did was get the recovering a wallet page, which used to be part of the onboarding. I moved it into this backup and recovery page. So, and change it to renamed it to recovery. I'm not fixed on the kind of name and that, but that's just kind of what I've got for now. So you'd have this section called backup and recovery. At the moment, this page just talks about backups. So you probably want to add a little bit of content on recovery as well. And then the automatic cloud backup page, which is next, that's the same, hasn't really changed. Manual backup page hasn't changed, same. The new bit addition within this kind of section would be obviously this recovery page, which got a broken link I need to fix. So yeah, we have like the recovery page, which is just the restoring a wallet page from onboarding. So this will need to get reworked a little bit. A lot of the onboarding pages need to get some copy changes done as well, because a lot of it talks in the context of onboarding and explains how this is an onboarding section. So we need to just reword things and change stuff a little bit there. So we have like this recovery page in the context of that. This is probably the most contentious thing in this VR, but if anyone has any like strong ideas or anything about that, like all ears on that. I'm just reading the chat quickly.
Yeah, so to be honest, I've never been super happy with our recovery page or with our content, because there are so many different options, and you know, we have like one screen or so, and it's just not very detailed. It just generally talks about, or you know, here's some technique, here's some general options, but we actually don't provide a lot of guidance. And you know, that's something important, right? Because like, I don't know who said that. If you haven't actually tried to delete and restore your wallet, then you haven't really backed it up, because you haven't proven that the backup actually works.
Yeah, like I completely agree. Like, I think this page could go a lot more in depth and like have some flows. Like we don't even have a flow here of what like a recovery flow would look like, and some entering a seed. You know, like we definitely could expand on that as well. Like I think testing backups, we could cover that somewhere. Like I think it is a good practice to, maybe that's a security thing as well that maybe we'd cover in the security section, but like prompting users to like maybe like once every 6 months send them like a notification, like a push notification saying you should test to see if your backup's still valid, just to make sure it works. Like those things are pretty important to do. Like I've always done that, like as a Bitcoiner. Like I'll like I usually do it when I like move on to a new version of a hardware wallet or something, but it's good to like kind of test those backups and make sure they're still valid, because you don't want to go like 10 years down the line and then realize it's doesn't work. And
yeah, you're all pumped for 10 years and then you're like, well.
But yeah, we could definitely go much more in depth. So maybe we need to open issue for that, unrelated to this PR, but yeah, open issue and expand on this recovery page, or the recovering a wallet page, and go a bit more in depth.
Yeah, lots of little areas to evolve and iterate on over time.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. That's probably the most contentious bit. Next, going on. So this is kind of getting to the payment sections that are merged in. So with the requesting page, essentially the same. I've got a fair few tweaks I want to add here. I want to go change a few things, but I'm going to do that next week as well. Once we get this reorg stuff done. But yeah, there's pretty much not really much to talk about here. It's pretty much all the same. Yeah, going through that. So we've got requesting. The next page is sending. So in between requesting and sending, we're going to have a receiving page. We haven't made it yet, but we eventually will have a receiving page, and the content at the bottom of this page will go in there and probably get expanded on a little bit. And we probably will have to talk about like the receiving aspect is where like LSPs are involved quite a bit, because when you're receiving payments, like that's when like channels get opened by LSPs and other services and stuff like that. So you add some content there around that. So the receiving page will definitely be bigger than just this section here. So that's another issue we need to open up, create a receiving page and expand on that and add new content around that. Going to the next page, your sending page, just on the topic of the LSP, like I was mentioning then while it's fresh in my head. Probably need to add stuff to this page around something around LSP, the LSP service for payment forwarding. So if you see my LSP PR, there's a LSP service in there called payment forwarding. One aspect of that, so that it involves receiving and sending, but the sending aspect revolves the LSP doing the route calculation for the mobile node. It's particularly useful for mobile nodes. So that's what LSP is mostly used for. But it outsources it to the LSP because some low-end devices might not be able to calculate that graph. At the moment, the Lightning Network's not that big, so it's not as big of a problem, but payment forwarding, I think, well, that kind of service for route calculation by an LSP will probably be what every wallet uses, every mobile wallet uses in the future, like when the Lightning Network gets to a point where it's like absolutely massive. But you actually don't really need to have that as a service if trampoline nodes get adopted, because yeah, we can just use trampoline nodes and then you can kind of remove LSP service. So yeah, just wanted to add that there. Maybe if anyone's taking notes, remembering things. But yeah, there's nothing else here.
I think that one, some stuff needs to be stripped out eventually. Like, I think it's one of the, yeah, Steven asked me about this one, like payment requests, because right now it's discussing all payment request options possible. And we could just slim that down to focus on the ones that are relevant now to a daily spending wallet. And then the other ones we could put elsewhere, like the multi-sig reference design, for example. There's also more stuff to iterate, but we'll get there.
Yeah, something else I guess we could discuss if we have time after I go through this is me and Christoph were talking the other day about eventually we're probably going to have like a savings wallet reference design in the guide. And what we were thinking with that is a lot of the on-chain content in this daily spending wallet, we would move into that section. And this daily spending wallet would only probably talk about on-chain if it's in the context of like a using Lightning. So say, for example, if you were doing like a on-chain swap or something like that, or funding a Lightning wallet with on-chain, having like a payment channel open or something like that. But maybe that's something we can discuss at the end once we kind of go through this.
Yeah, that seems like a bigger discussion that we all should agree on, like where the specific product focus of this spending wallet. And then somebody just needs to build it because it's going to be thought through in every single detail.
Well, yeah, we're really good when our block kind of releases like all their kind of roadmap and they're kind of doing their whole wallet design in the open. So I think there'll be a lot of really useful content that would be handy in that savings wallet reference design section. And that would cover like hardware wallets and on-chain, I'd say mostly would be the two main topics.
Okay, cool.
And multi-sig. But yeah, so I'll keep going. So there's nothing really else here. Next page, activity is all the same too. There's nothing really else, just the activity page Christoph made. Contacts, same situation. This is the same as well. Nothing else changed. So the next is security. So this originally was called protecting a wallet. I just called it security because we had a page called privacy, and I think it just explains the same thing in less words. Made more sense. I don't really mind too much either way, but yeah, this page used to be called protecting a wallet. And because we were omitting like the wallet terminology from pages in this section because the section is called daily spending wallet. Like say if you just wrote like protecting, instead like because it used to be called protecting a wallet, if you remove the wallet part, it'd just be called protecting, and it would sound kind of weird. So I just changed it to security.
Yeah, just one thought on that. The only downside to that is if I send a link to somebody and they just get to this page and it just says security, and like, yeah, I'm a security guard at a local hardware store. I like security. This makes sense to me. You don't really get much context.
Yeah, that makes sense. You could keep the security name on the menu over on the left here, but then change this title to like something that's in more context of the situation. Same for the privacy page.
That's a common. I mean, that's a typical internet thing, right? You get dumped into in the middle of some random content. And then for SEO, I don't know if it's better if the title contains more stuff. Just
wallet
questions,
security.
I don't have answers.
Well, Stephen said what just call it like wallet security. Like that's pretty much what I was thinking as well. Just for now, the only issue I see with that is eventually like have a savings wallet reference design, and then we have like a page called wallet security. Like it's also like not exactly in the context because there's different kinds of wallet you're kind of talking about. So maybe you could call it like daily spending wallet security or something. I don't know. Wallet security sounds better, but
Bitcoin design guide, daily spending, wallet security, reference design guidelines. And
I'll think about this more, and yeah, I think probably just wallet security. What Stephen said, and yeah, Stephen just mentioned as well about Pav talking about doing an SEO overhaul. I think definitely need to get around to doing that. A lot more issues popping up, lots of stuff to do. So I reckon this page as well could have a lot more content added to it. For example, this doesn't even mention anything about Tor. I think having Tor, particularly if you're using LSP, is very important for mobile Lightning wallet nodes. So this page probably needs like an issue added and need to add some more content here around Tor and a few other things. But yeah, like that's a issue for another time, but we'll go over that. So cool, nothing really else changed here. And then the last page in this new section is just called privacy. So I think it was called wallet privacy before, but I think I might have changed it to privacy. But I'll change the title back to wallet privacy just after that discussion. That makes more sense.
Can we take a look at that one real quick? Was this mostly it was first on chain, then we added some Lightning consideration, right? But then it goes straight out into the quote at the top talks about UTXOs.
Yeah, I think it used to. I don't think it does anymore.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we again have kind of a how it works section and the UX guidance section somewhere in here.
This page could probably get completely reworked, I reckon, and like have UI flows around privacy related things with the daily spending wallet. Like, because yeah, like at the moment it kind of reads more like a how it works page. It doesn't actually talk about like privacy in the context of a daily spending wallet, but we had it in the payment section, so it's just here for now. But yeah, like completely probably reworking this page would be good. But yeah, we could have a page in the how it works called privacy that's just a bit more general privacy recommendations, and then have this page like focus in the context of daily spending wallets. Like, for example, like you could go into how sharing payment requests and stuff like that, and how to be private when doing that. A bunch of stuff you go into. But...
I can't tell who's posting there in the chat. I don't see any names in the comments.
I think it's all Stephen. Yeah.
Yeah. The quote on this page, no, that was Ed. Ed created that page.
Yeah, it's all UTXO coin control stuff.
No,
here.
Sorry, I meant the one that Stephen just sent over, that the coin selection page with the quote at the top.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out if that's the one you were asking about when you mentioned the quote. That's all.
Oh no, it's just the one on the page that Bosch is showing right now at the top.
Yeah, it's pretty heavily on-chain focused. Just kind of briefly going over here, like we talk about coin joins and stuff like that. But there's some like on-chain stuff that would be relevant to a daily spending wallet, a Lightning wallet. Like for example, like when dual funded channels become a bit more of a thing, you can make every dual funded channel like a pay join, which you could automate and have in the background completely done, and make opening channels a lot more private. So you could have things like that in there as well. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff.
And another thing, it could also tackle once we get into reusable payment formats, Lightning address, Bolt 12 offer. If you add your Lightning address to your Twitter profile or so, I don't know. There might be just some more stuff that's forward-looking in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, but nothing we have to figure out at this very moment.
I might get an issue up for it anyways, and we can start kind of brainstorming, thinking ahead a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole PR. There's not really much else.
Another question about the daily spending wallet landing page. So in backup and recovery, in that subtext, it would be good to directly, just on that page.
Oh yeah,
it says an overview of blah, blah, blah. We should link to the subpages in that text already. So there's like a quick way to get there.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Sounds
because
good.
those subpages are not listed as big pages here. but we could put them in the links in the text. And does this need to be, if we look at this page right now, it's all text and lines. There's not a single image on this whole screen here. And it's fairly, I mean, you also have a massive screen, right? But it's very spacious, let's put it that way. Do you want to tighten this up a bit or add some visuals, or, I mean, what does everybody else think?
Well, I was going to add some copy here under the daily spending wallet bit. I've been meaning that's part of what I've got to do still.
Yeah.
Something else, like we had a issue up for doing, because like with the guide landing page, we're going to have hold on, let's open your deploy. So like this is the kind of new style we're going to go with like landing pages. I don't know if we have an issue up for it, but I remember we talked about having like this kind of style of landing pages for the other sections as well. So like this is for like the whole guide overview, and then say if you click on like daily spending wallet, this page would look like that as well, and it'd be much more visual. So it's not just like a ordered list like that. I'm not too sure. Like, should we start working on that eventually or soon?
It's not like we need to splash visuals all over the place. Like if you look at the material design landing pages, it's just all visuals, but the visuals are no content. So it's in the end, it's just nice textures and pleasing colors. But you don't even, there's nothing there for you other than that. And adding an image at the top, like Daniel said, would just in a chat would help. But then just tightening up the spacing somehow, so you don't have to scroll. So I don't know. I feel like it doesn't just like the format in general kind of works, but it needs maybe some adjustment, even if it's small.
Yeah, I completely agree. It doesn't look great at the moment. It's pretty plain. Yeah, I'll use this. I'll rework this image and use that as the header image for that section for now. Daniel.
Yeah, and that page, is that going to go away, right? That page you were just at, case study / daily spending wallet.
That was up for a separate issue, but I think we're going to rework it. Yeah, but I think there's an issue.
Did you copy content from there or no?
No, I haven't actually yet. I was going to maybe use a lot of the copy for like the intro bit in the daily spending wallet and stuff, but
separate issue makes sense.
So that's a good point actually, and I want to go check the issues to see, because we had kind of talked about basically building it in this manner where like the section that you embark upon kind of shows you like, hey, this is what you're going to be building. And it like the idea being that like all of the stuff and like the onboarding section and all of that was like showing you how to build a daily spending wallet. And so that like the finished prototype, the finished reference design is kind of like what the whole section builds up to. So in that regard, yeah, I think it probably does eventually need to be fused with the daily spending wallet section. I don't know if that needs to happen in this PR or not, but that would probably long-term be the thing.
Yeah, this PR is already huge. Yeah.
In the issue we have up, we did have we were going to have a page called like the reference design or something like that in this daily spending wallet, and it'd be at the end. And what it would do is it'd be like a prototype that ties all of these sections together into a prototype, which you could use. I could just copy this over, but this prototype's completely different than kind of what's in the daily spending wallet, and it doesn't like cover everything that's kind of covered in the daily spending wallet. So we probably need to rework that prototype to match the content in the daily spending wallet, and then put that over there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something I think we could do in the next couple of days here, but like long term, it would be really cool if basically the case study for daily spending, basically if we just took that prototype and made it everything that was in the onboarding section.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work there, Bosch. It's pretty good.
Yeah, like I would have got it done quicker. Just like when I was going through it, I've just been reading it all, and I've got like probably like 6 or 7 issues I want to open, but I don't want to like swarm the GitHub. So we'll get this reorg stuff done, and I'll slowly start adding issues and we can start talking about things. But I mentioned a few of them kind of when we're going through this, like like reworking the privacy security page, what content, and to rework the funding page. Yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah,
to do.
don't try to do too much per PR.
Yeah.
By step is better.
Yeah, the only content I changed in this PR was just like reworded a few things that like were in the context of like onboarding say too much, and just made it in the context of daily spending wallet. But it was just a few minor like copy changes, like nothing drastic at all. This is the PRs predominantly just real, but yeah.
Awesome. Pav, Daniel, any other thoughts you wanted to share on this review here?
Nothing in particular on my end. I'm just following along.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll give it a final read through, but apart from the visual comments that I agree with, I think we're pretty good.
Cool. Oh, Dulce has a talk. What she is going to talk about?
I just shuffled those, by the way, so that my PR closes these two, and then Christos closes these two. So these three are probably the priority to get done for the conference, and then we can get to these after.
Okay. All right, Stephen, tell Dulce we said hi. Have fun at the talk. Cool. Yeah, sorry, just
Okay,
talking.
Stephen. Oh, sorry, I didn't see
through the
Stephen
comments.
saying goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. All sounds good. I mean, all of this and all the follow-up stuff we just discussed should bring us to a really nice place of polish, and then the other things will become. Then we'll have to get back to some of the Lightning things that are still open, and we'll have to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
You know, when I did the presentation a couple of days ago in the preparation for it, I always tried. You know, it forces me to kind of to look back at what we did, at where we are, and everything everybody's done, and it's always really cool to do that and think about everything that everybody got done here. It's come a long way.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Good. Yeah, it was good. What you're saying. It seemed like there's a real positive reception about the guide at the conference you and Daniel went to. It's good to hear.
Yeah, they were definitely. We joined a wallet circle, which was just a 1.5 to 2 hour discussion just about wallets. And then at the beginning, there was a moderator, and he asked, "Well, what does everybody want to talk about?" And then some things brought up, and there were various points where I thought, we have a very detailed page on this in the guide. It was about recovery phrases and some security stuff, and just all kinds of topics, multi-key and whatnot that we've already spent a lot of time discussing and documenting.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty cool. All right. Should we head out? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to chat about? I think we
still another 8 minutes. I don't really have anything else major to discuss. Did Steve hit you guys up about like he had some stuff with like some bulk 12 comparison chart with all the other Lightning kind of payment request protocols, like the payment request serving protocols like bulk 12 and stuff like that, and LNURL Pay. And he's just talking about integrating that kind of content in the guide and saying like it'd be good to push the benefits of bulk 12 a little bit more on the guide, so we could like maybe help make more wallets adopt it and make it a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we can make it a thing because it's up to the developers to really push that forward. And from what it sounds like, they're working on it. They're just super swamped, and it takes time.
Yeah,
it's a tricky thing because the bulk 12 is ideally LNURL Pay and Lightning address, like intermediates, let's say somewhat not ideal steps that will then be done in, let's say, the proper way by bulk 12. So it's a weird in-between state, if you will.
Because like we could go cover stuff around like subscriptions, like would be really interesting, like thing to explore on the UX side that I haven't really even thought about it before, but bulk files kind of gonna enable that, and I think AMP does as well. So yeah, it's just like
yeah, AMP is that even being heavily discussed?
I'm not too sure. Like I know I think we use them in Zeus now. They're on by default, but you can easily just like toggle between using like an AMP invoice and a normal invoice. But it's a bit weird. It's a bit clunky. But yeah, I need to look into it a little bit more, to be honest.
And all it is just multi-path payments that make it easier to stuff to reach its destination because it can split up and cross different routes and whatnot, right? Just more flexibility.
Yeah, and it's in a reusable address, so I'm not. Yeah, it's like a prototype.
Also, okay.
Yeah, so it gets competes with bulk 12, but bulk 12 seems to be a bit more feature rich. But yeah, that's why there was that big kind of beef with C Lightning and LND a while ago, because I think a lot of people at C Lightning think that LND doesn't want to adopt bulk 12 because they're working on AMP, which is competing. So like, yeah, I don't know, just a big protocol dramas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll have separate discussion here that we can have about how we want to promote this and figure this out. And that maybe that's a good part of when we revise the daily spending wallet for, let's say, Lightning purity.
Yeah, like there's heaps of stuff to do because I really want to get around to eventually one day having a Lightning node reference design section in the guide. I was talking to Christoph the other day about how like this daily spending wallet stuff, like we've kind of done all this great content, but I don't know if we're really at a stage where we're ready to have like mass adoption of daily spending Lightning wallets. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to get worked out on the routing node kind of level, and from like a design perspective, I think like we could probably play a part in making like Lightning node managers more usable, which would in turn make more people run more efficient, better nodes, and then that would lead the way to more people adopting like daily spending wallets, because it's like chicken before the egg kind of thing. Like you can't have mass daily spending wallet adoption if like the routing node kind of layer is a bit clunky and stuff like that.
Yeah, there could be its own reference design for that. Yeah, I'm curious how our reference design will become a bit more diverse over time. Because like the one that I posted for login with Lightning, that could be on thing. If merchants start popping in there, could go all kinds of directions.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's wrap it up then. Sound all good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm gonna go head off. I'm gonna have something to eat quickly, and then I'll review your PR before I go to bed, Christoph.
Awesome. I'll stop the recording then. Thanks. Anyone who watches these things, thanks for checking it out. Contribute, give reviews, tell us in Slack what's good, what's bad, all of this stuff. And over and out. I'm gonna press the stop recording button now here.